Hello and welcome back to the She Lives Purposefully podcast. My name is Megan and I'm here with my sister Mackenzie. Hi, Kens.
Hello.
Welcome back to guesting, co-hosting the show.
Thank you. Not much co-host, but
So Kens has been on the podcast with us before. She's a community fave on the She Lives Purposely podcast, and today we're going to do a Christian girly Q&A. We're going to answer questions that you guys have submitted through Instagram. We've did this before. I think it was in July, right before my maternity leave.
Wow.
And now before the holidays come, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, we're doing another Christian girl Q&A. I love these because it's like literally direct questions that you guys have, all centered around Jesus, around Christianity, and from our perspective, I think it's such a fun vibe.
Yeah, I love, like, when we did do it. And I think we even did one when you were engaged.
Yeah.
On a live, not a podcast.
Yeah. We should do that. That's fun. We should do an Instagram live.
That'd be so, like, right now as we're filming.
Wait, actually, that would be cute.
Too
complicated. No, yeah. Me too, though. But also, Ken's brought us some little Starbucks drinks. They really dipped her on hers, which...
Well, it was up to here.
Crazy.
But it's still yummy, so thank you, Starbucks. So good.
It's still good.
I got matcha with a pump of chai.
Oh, that's yummy. I got chai with an extra pump of chai. Or I don't know how many pumps you got me, but... yeah, I got our little drinks. I hope that you have your little fun drinks too. And I'm so excited for us to hang out today. And I feel like we can just jump into the questions. Let's do it.
Let's jump right in.
All right, I'm going to whip out my phone. Okay. Question number 1. Do you have advice for single girls healing from past hurt?
Megan.
That's such a good question. I think it's something that probably most girls have struggled with in some form. One, because at some point all of us have been single, but also just like past hurt in a relationship or a situationship or whatever that may look like, I think is really relatable. And so one, I just want to say you're not alone in feeling those things. I think sometimes that can be helpful because it can feel really isolating and really feel unique, like to you of like, this is my situation. I'm the only one feeling this kind of thing. And that's just not true. Like you're not the only one going through that, which I think is encouraging. Dealing with past hurt. One thing I would say, and I think this is probably just a staple, is like, of course, like bringing it to the Lord and like being really honest about the hurt that you're going through. I think sometimes it can be really easy to be like, okay, especially if it was like maybe a situationship, sometimes even with a long-term relationship, to kind of just like gloss over it and be like, okay, I'm just going to move on. I'm going to move forward, instead of actually sitting with like, okay, why am I hurting? Like what happened, and process those things. So I would encourage you to, one, like recognize the emotions you have. I remember one time in counseling, my counselor told me like, it isn't wrong necessarily to feel an emotion, to like have that emotion. It's what you do with that emotion. So, it could be anger, it could be hurt, it could be this, it could be that. It's like, okay, I'm feeling that thing. Recognize that, like you are feeling it. And feelings are there for a reason. They really can be like kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, flashing lights to like what's going on in our hearts. So recognizing that and even bringing that to the Lord, being really vulnerable about that. The Lord knows your heart and your perspective. The Lord knows the other heart and the other person's perspective too. I would also say, honestly, TBH, maybe go to counseling about it. I feel like sometimes too, when it comes to relationships or situationships, we can really like downplay, like, okay, maybe it's the opposite. Like, oh, this happens to everybody, so it's not that big a deal. I should be able to move past it. And then maybe it's weeks, months, years down the road and you haven't moved past it. Like, I think it's okay to recognize, you know what, like I'm not able to move past this solo. I need to talk it out. I need to like process my emotions, my feelings, my thoughts with somebody else, somebody licensed even, or maybe, like a best friend or like a pastor's wife or whoever. But I think that's helpful. And I'm trying to think of do you have any thoughts off the top of your head?
Yeah, I feel like I would even agree with going off of what you had mentioned, knowing that you're not alone in it. Like, I feel like even personally, like having gone through something and it ended, and then being able to share with like my pastor's wife and like different people who were kind of above me, and even hearing like in a situation that I thought was so unique, it wasn't. And it was just like, oh, so many other people have dealt with like similar situations and you're not alone in it.
Yeah.
Especially just like just breakups in general or like whatever situationships. But
yeah.
and also to not gloss over it. Because it is so important to just like feel your feelings but not sit in them. But yeah, I feel like definitely the top thing, which you had said, would be going to the Lord. And I think I'd been talking with a friend one time, and we had just been talking just about like things in general, and she had mentioned just even bringing like if you end a relationship like and you're constantly thinking about that person, just like instead of mulling over like the past or just if they did you wrong, just praying about them, like bringing them to the Lord, and even just asking the Lord to like take over those thoughts and like replace them with like thoughts of His, His thoughts of His.
Yeah.
And because even once you're praying for somebody constantly, it changes your view and outlook even on a situation too. So I feel like that has been helpful.
Yeah. I think too, something that's really common is maybe thinking like, okay, because I haven't been able to heal from this, I haven't been able to work through this, like maybe that's for a reason. Maybe I should keep dwelling on it, kind of idea. Like maybe the Lord wants this to stay in my head forever, like kind of thing. And like maybe even thinking there's like hope for that relationship. And who's to say that there is or there isn't or, anything like that. But I do think it's important, regardless of what the Lord has for you, is to heal from this situation now. And whatever the Lord's going to do, He's going to do in the future. But like you can heal from this now. You can work through this now with the Lord. And I think it's really important to do that, because if you don't confront it now, it will bite you later on. Like it will come back to bite you. That's the expression. It will come back to bite you.
It will bite you later on.
It will bite you. So I think that's important. And I think too, just from like your own heart perspective, like knowing, like your value in the Lord, and really reminding yourself of that. Because I think sometimes it can be really easy to think or to have like heartbreak and then really maybe even look down on yourself, or just like have your whole identity caught up in this heartbreak or this other person. And so to really reorient, like, okay, this person was not my whole life. Like I have more purpose than just this. And like, and really like seeking that out and seeking out your identity in the Lord, and then jumping into other activities, to serving in church, to doing other things, to hanging out with friends, to being intentional to hang out with friends, like one-on-one, set up coffee dates with all these people, with friends. Not,
everybody.
Don't jump into
everybody,
anything. But yeah, so I feel like that's my thoughts.
Yeah. Oh, I just had a thought in my head. Oh, you were talking about.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you want to bring the mic a little closer to your mouth? Yeah.
I'm like, have you guys not been able to hear me this entire
I've been checking the sound. You can. But
okay.
Just, yeah.
Oh, kind of what you were talking about, but like your value doesn't change based on a boy or a man, whatever.
Yeah.
Like your value is found in the Lord. And just because you're dating somebody or you're not, you broke up with somebody, does not better you or like lower yourself in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's good. Yeah. That would be our advice on that area. We have another relationship one, so I'm going to jump to that one because I feel like it's just in theme. How do you not act on the desire for a relationship when you know you're not ready? I have a thought right off the bat. Or do you?
Go for it. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, but not really that profound.
So. Oh, no, it's not super profound either. But my first thought is like, I think this really takes a mind over emotion kind of discipline to really say like, okay, recognizing where you're at, and or I guess really just comes down to like discipline and self-control. And so I would really just like be praying over those things and even practicing those things in small ways. Like, okay, like what are ways that I can be disciplined and self-control so that like in this bigger situation, I can be disciplined and self-controlled. And self-control, I just had such a mom brain moment. Self-control is a fruit of the spirit, and so that's something that the Lord has for you. Literally such a mom brain moment.
Self-control.
Pause. No, but that's something the Lord has for you. And so it's not like, I think sometimes too we can really romanticize our own like, oh, like I just fell into this again because I'm just a girl, kind of vibe. Like, and like I totally get it. Like I'm just a girl too, period. Like I don't know, but like the Lord has self-control for us, and sometimes it can be cutesy, the different things we do, but sometimes it's not. Like it's not. It's time to get serious and like be disciplined and like say like, okay, this is not healthy for me right now, and I'm gonna choose something that is better, something that is healthy, more long term, and having a long term perspective too, versus just right now. I think that's so important.
It's true. I feel like there's so many like do it for the plot or like I'm just doing this for the plot.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm seeing it, I'm like, yes, and I'm like, no.
No way.
Like it's such a horrible mindset to have, especially when it goes into bigger things like choosing to date someone even though you're not ready or they're not ready and you know it. But I agree. I mean, I think it just takes discipline and self-control, which I love what Megan said. Practice that in different situations, even small little things, because when it comes to an actual moment, whether it's like dating or something else where you need to practice it, you can actually do it because like the Lord has helped you and strengthened you in that as you've been practicing it. And yeah, I just feel like when you know you're not ready or it's just not good timing for a relationship, just obey the Lord in faith in that.
That's so good. Yeah.
Which it's so hard to do, but it's half of our faith, It's like trusting that the Lord's ways are higher, even though we can't see it, which applies to this. Like, I'm going to obey. I'm going to trust whatever he has, and I'm going to keep growing in him. So then, not so you can be ready for a relationship, but...
If that's what motivates you. No, I'm kidding.
Like, not that that's the goal, obviously, but you want to be just constantly growing in him. And those are like different outcomes of it, you can be ready for a relationship or you can be ready for a different something, Yeah.
I think what you said was really good about like trusting in the Lord in this. Like if you're not ready for this, the Lord is not calling you to this right now, then essentially like trust that the Lord knows what he's doing, and trust it too, like he's gonna have something different for you, something better for you, or maybe he'll have this for you later on. But like I just have seen in my own life, I have seen the Lord's timing like so clearly. Things that I wanted to happen in a certain time frame that happened in a different time frame, or didn't happen at all and totally different things happened. And sometimes you think like, this is such a good thing, why wouldn't the Lord want this? Like the Lord knows best. And so I think a huge part of my advice would be like really have that long-term eternal perspective of like God knows better, and like immediate satisfaction is not always the goal. Like, sometimes it's oftentimes fleeting. Like it is fading. And not to say like always immediate satisfaction is
fleeting, I said.
Fading and fleeting. No, like I'm trying to think of what I said. I just feel like my brain goes off.
This is a sister podcast.
This is a sister podcast. That's cute. Thank you. But basically, that the Lord does know, and trusting him with that is going to be better than just like doing whatever you want for immediate satisfaction right now. Giggles. Anything else in that question? Thought process?
No, I feel like we covered it. And even I'm like, I feel like I started all the giggles, and then now that
No, it's flipping.
I feel like we covered it in a way that, like, there's not much else to say.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
No, I think it's, yeah. I think
obey
it's
the
good.
Lord.
Trust
his
him.
timing, and
Yeah.
self-control.
Fruit of the Spirit. That's so crazy.
I'm like, sorry, that laugh will be so loud on the
No,
microphone.
I love it. Okay, next question. What is the best place to get Bibles and journals? My first thought is I don't think there's a best place to get Bibles necessarily. I think my favorite version, personally, not to say this is the best version, my favorite version is the English Standard Version. Yours is not. Yours is the New King James. I don't know. I was mixing the letters for a second, but it's the New King James version.
Like, never mind. I'm gonna be like, the Message.
The Message. No, you like the
New King James, NKJV.
NK. Yeah, I feel like I kept thinking like, is it NKJ or NJK?
No, I get that.
Yeah.
Like, you can just mix up.
Letters. I feel like it's not. I don't know if that's.
NKJV.
Yeah.
But ESV is really good. That's what our pastor uses.
Yeah.
I think, right?
Which one?
Oh, ESV?
No. Which pastor?
Joe.
I think he uses the KJV.
No, he was yesterday at church. Yesterday at church he was reading and he was like, this is what the ESV says, and I was so caught off guard because I always thought he used KJV.
No, I really think that was just a spur of the moment thing for him. I really think he does KJV.
I don't know.
Maybe not. I think Brian uses ESV. ESV. Anyway, all that to say, those are two good versions that we like.
I'm like, Dad uses the Reina Valera.
The Spanish version. Yeah, which version? For the Spanish girlies out there.
I think I'm gonna say it wrong, but
Reina Valera.
yeah, but it's also a certain year. It's like in the 80s.
Oh, there you have it, in the 80s.
Yeah, but I like those. I do like ESV too.
Yeah, I like New King James version. I can't say the letters.
Journals.
Yeah.
Or like Bible tools.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, too.
That was a deep cut. If you know, you know. We're gonna cut this part for a second. Okay. So for Bible study tools, and journals, and even Bibles too.
Right, like places that sell Bibles.
I'm crying.
I love Daily Grace Co. I heard about them in Bible college because
I really thought you were gonna say from me, but awkward.
no. Maybe I don't know.
Anyway,
Or maybe in high school. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, Daily Grace Co. has good. Do they sell Bibles? I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure they do. Let me look for you right now as you share about Daily Grace Co.
They have maybe Bibles. They have journals. I'm actually gonna buy one sometime this week. And they have good like study tools where
They do sell Bibles
okay.
as well, and they're really beautiful.
Yeah, okay, that's them. That has like the really pretty Bibles.
They do. Yeah. I will link this in the show notes too. I'm pretty sure I have a discount code with them, so I will link that if I do. Yeah, they have a lot of great tools. They have too a lot of fun stuff, just in time for the holidays, you guys. Like kids things, family things, even like sweatshirts, stuff like that for your friends. They have stuff for marriages, all of it. Like they have so many tools for like Christian living.
Yeah, and they have different books of the Bible, like plans, I guess.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And studies and just the whole thing.
Studies.
I really also love Hosanna Revival, which I also have a code for. I will link that for you too. The Bible that I use is from there, and I also just got a new one from them too that I'm obsessed with. It's a study Bible and a journaling Bible in one, which I love, love, love. And then also I've gotten some really awesome Bibles from Lifeway with Christian Standard Bible. And they've been really cool too. They just came out with one. It's an Oswald Chambers devotional Bible, so that's in there.
Oh, you're excited about that.
Yeah, I really like it. So they have good stuff too. I'll link it all for you. I feel like it's really helpful. And two, I think it's just fun to make your quiet time like cutesy and pretty and girly. You know what I mean? Like with the journals and the even if it's like just that your Bible is like really like pretty and stuff. I love that.
Yeah, I feel like it makes it more fun. And if you're struggling with wanting to like meet with the Lord or spend time like, and you're somebody who loves the the aesthetic or whatever,
No shame. That's me.
it's a good way, a leeway into. Is that what it is? Leeway?
I don't think so, but
A good
but I know what you're saying.
something way.
Gateway?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So those are some good ones.
Yeah, I don't have
Cool.
anything else.
Yeah, I feel like so. Daily Grace Co., Hosanna Revival, Lifeway has great ones too, and our faves are ESV and NKJV.
And Lifeway's really, like, that's one that sells a lot of.
They're huge. They
Yeah,
have a
okay.
lot of Christian resources too. Yeah. Okay. The last question for today: how to approach the LGBTQ community who thinks that Christians hate them? My first thought is that you can approach that community like you would approach any sinner, which is really any person. Like, we are all sinners. If you're a Christian, you're a sinner saved by grace. And so I think like having that perspective and really like praying for the eyes of the Lord and like how he looks at like that community, or really, like I said, like any sinner, and being able to approach them from that perspective, I think is really important. And you were talking about this, but like we do believe that like living in that lifestyle is a sin in scripture.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking?
No, I agree. I think, because I had said, like, honestly, if you're watching this and you are lesbian or bi or whatever, or you're just struggling with it right now.
Yeah,
I just lost my train of thought.
No, I think one, you're absolutely not alone in it. Two, the Lord knows your heart. He knows what you're struggling with. Two, I think what you were saying is like maybe you don't see it as a struggle or a sin. Do you want to jump off of that?
Yeah. Because there are so many different, whenever Christian podcasters or teachers talk about this topic, it's combated with, well, it's not a sin, it's not a struggle, it's who I am. And like I get that way of thinking, but just from biblically in a Christian point of view, it is a struggle and it is a sin. Mm-hmm. The Lord does view it that way, so that's how we're going to be talking about it.
Yeah.
But again, like Megan said, it's not saying that Christians shouldn't love those who are in this community, and like it's not something that should be a topic where everyone's like, oh my gosh, like horrid,
Yeah, and I remember getting a question actually one time asking like if you can be a Christian and struggle with these things. And again, if that's you, you absolutely can. Just like you can be a Christian and struggle with a plethora of other sins. The thing is that like being a Christian is choosing Christ and choosing to walk in his ways. So you're choosing to deny your flesh, just like you would if you were like having sex before you were married, kind of thing. Like mm-hmm. it's choosing that. And again, maybe that means too, like we all stumble and we all fall, but as Christians, we're repenting and we're bringing that before the Lord. But as a Christian, like approaching somebody maybe who's not a Christian in that community, I would say just like approach them with love, approach them with the eyes of the Lord, like how he sees them. They're made in his image, just like you and I are made in his image. And he loves them just like he loves you and me. And when it comes to also specifically maybe like people who are in that community who think that Christians hate them, I think that sometimes that's probably a warranted feeling. Like there are Christians out there who really show hate towards towards people in that community. And I think that is such a shame. And I don't think that's the heart of God at all. And so I think just like, yeah, really showing the love of the Lord. And when those things come up, like being real and honest about what God says about those things, but like approaching it with grace and love too. But, you know, not having to be shy about what is true.
Yeah, I agree. I think whenever you approach somebody who is in the LGBTQ community, like Megan had said, approach them with love, like you should. They're a normal human being. Like it's the heart of the Lord is love. He is just and he is righteous, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't love people who are in sin, and doesn't mean he can change people who are in sin. And
or he can't change people. Like, it doesn't mean he can't.
Right, my bad. Also, if you think that the Lord hates the people who are in this sin, then you're wrong.
Yeah, I think that's good. Like, important to say. Yeah.
Right, like it isn't the heart of the Lord. But yeah, I don't know. I think just approach them with love. The Lord can change them.
I think too, yeah, like just because they're maybe in this community doesn't mean that has to be the first thing you approach them with. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like we were like saying a little bit before, like you can struggle with this. It doesn't have to be your identity. It's not your identity. Your sin is not your identity. And we don't have to put that on other people either, which I'm not saying you are. I just think it can be sometimes that happens. But yeah, that's all of our questions for today. Ken, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I love it.
Such a treat. I love your wisdom always, and our giggles and our banter.
Ditto. I love it all.
Love you. Friends, thank you for hanging out with us. I hope that you enjoyed whatever drink you brought to our chat today. And that this was encouraging for you, helpful, and just like a good, fun Christian friend, Christian sister chat. Love you so much. Live purposefully and live for Jesus. See ya.